Good evening, barflies and lounge lizards, and welcome to the second annual Christmas haul. Folks enjoyed the first one so much I figured I would do another one, and I believe in giving people what they want. That is, except for a competent host and high quality videos. And you'll have to excuse this unsightly band-aid. My sister burned me with a cigar because I won't watch Naruto. And the weird thing about that, though, is she doesn't even smoke. But that's just the way she goes. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is this monkey statue. Though the gift giver thought it might be a bookend. But either way, they found it at a thrift store and thought it was extremely me. And a monkey in a fez? Yeah, that is extremely me. But this thing is very, very cool and very heavy. So I guess there is some credence to the whole bookend kind of thing. But I'm just going to display it as a statue somewhere. Now, for the first part of the haul, I'll focus on movies. Because that's probably what most of you are here for anyway. I'll go from movies and then hit like toys and CDs and stuff as I go. But the first thing I wanted to show movie-wise is I finally got Robinson Crusoe on Mars, the Criterion version. This has been one of my favorite movies since I was a child. But just for whatever reason, I have never actually owned it. I would always just watch it on TV. And finally, though, I now have the Criterion version. And anyone that's been regularly watching the channel knows that I've kind of become a sucker for Criterion of late. That's a great looking cover, too. And this is a highly recommended release of a highly recommended film, if you haven't seen it already. And now we'll dig into the nitty-gritty of the episode and why I called it what I called it, a Chanbara Noir Christmas. Because I got a lot of film noir this Christmas. And the first I wanted to show is Kiss Me Deadly. And this is one when I first started really having an interest in digging deeper into film noir and not watching just kind of the neo-noir stuff I'd been watching. I wrote Mr. Dick Vincent, who I host the Wacky World Drive-In podcast with, and asked for his recommendations. And Mr. Vincent is quite well versed in the world of film noir. And the two he recommended first and foremost above all others was Kiss Me Deadly and Double Indemnity. I started with Double Indemnity because once again, a Criterion release of Kiss Me Deadly was a little pricey for a movie I hadn't seen, but finally got around to it. And let me tell you, this movie here, if you're a Tarantino fan, you need to see this. As I've said, there wouldn't be a Kill Bill without Lady Snowblood. Well, there wouldn't be a Pulp Fiction without this movie. And I'd go as far as to say there wouldn't be a Repo Man without this movie as well. And the plot twist in this one, I could have guessed for a week. And I probably wouldn't have come up with the plot twist. I mean, it is something else. Yeah, this was quite good. Good recommendation. And the next we have the original Nightmare Alley. I mean, look at that fantastic cover. Now this one is one that it's highly debated, whether it's film noir or not. I think the back of this packaging even says it's film noir and another Criterion. But it's one of those cases where I can kind of see that both ways. I wouldn't argue either side if you fall on it's film noir or you fall on it's not film noir. Now this is one I definitely need to give a second watch to because I enjoyed it, but I was expecting a full film noir that took place at a carnival. But the carnival is only kind of the first maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then he goes elsewhere in it and kind of ends up there kind of again at the end. So it's not really the carnival movie I was expecting. So I think going in a second time, I will enjoy it even more, knowing what to expect. And the third, and actually the one I enjoyed the most out of the three I've gotten so far, Out of the Past, starring Robert Mitchum and Jane Greer. And this is another really good one. And now this one feels like film noir. Like, of the three, if you were to ask me which one was the most noir-ish, it would definitely be this one. But yeah, Robert Mitchum and Kirk Douglas, fantastic performances. And talk about a deep, complex plot. So if you kind of like crime dramas with a lot of backstabbing and suspense, it's definitely one to recommend. And I hope you guys like film noir, because I have a feeling there's going to be a bunch of it on the channel after this. And now kinda in theme, and this is the Big Lizard Book of Black Mask Stories. And Black Mask was a magazine that ran, I believe, from the 20s to the early 50s. And this is essentially pulp stories that appeared in that magazine. It was a pulp magazine, and there was crime fiction all the hallmarks of what you think of when you think film noir or pulp crime fiction. And it's actually a really cool, I mean, if you look at it, the thing is gigantic. And it's even kind of on pulp, like kind of pulpy type paper, but it actually keeps the original presentation, or what I assume is the original presentation, of the pulp stories with the little illustrations. I mean, it looks exactly like you would open up a pulp magazine, even though, of course, it's making a fool out of me at the moment, not the Maltese Falcon. So it actually has some big stories in here as well. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to digging into this Joker, but I have a feeling that's going to take a long time. And where are the illustrations? I know there's a bunch in here. Just wants to make me look just downright sad. There we go. Now look at that guy punching that guy. That's the kind of thing you want to see when you open up a pulp type magazine. Just a guy in a fedora punching another guy. And this thing was very reasonably priced too. Not 25 cents, but reasonably priced. So now into the miscellaneous section of the movies. And the first one I wanted to show that I bought with my Christmas money a little early was the Rambo collection. I had only seen the second and third movies, but just something crawled into my brain. I wasn't wearing my tinfoil hat that day and said, you need to see the Rambo movies. So I asked around a few trusted sources what they thought of them, and weirdly enough, Jay Super Awesome was watching them himself at the time. And he said, yeah, definitely give them a shot. So I listened and I got them, and as I said in the Christmas special, you got yourself a Rambo fan here now, because, wow, I was very, very impressed, especially with the fifth one. And once I was finished, I just hadn't had enough. I needed more of that sweet Sly action, so I invested in the Rocky movies as well, which I really liked those as a kid, which is kind of odd because they're really not very kid-friendly movies, but I enjoyed them just as much as an adult, and I hadn't even seen that latest one. So yeah, I was really enjoyed watching these again. They really hold up, and on paper, they're very much not my type of movies, kind of a sports movie, but just something about them really sticks. I think maybe too because Rocky, and I didn't necessarily see it as a kid, he's such a nuanced, quirky character. He has his turtles and his weird jokes he tells, and just a really likable, kind of oddball outsider character. It's just really engaging, and as I said, just really nuanced. That's Sylvester Stallone. He can write a character. And then in a completely different genre of things, I got the K-On! Ultimate Collection. And K-On! Is pretty much my favorite modern anime. And it's just a light, fun little slice of life show about an all-girl rock band just dealing with day-to-day life of an all-girl rock band. It is so much fun. And this is one of those ones I would highly recommend to people that aren't necessarily into anime. For those that just don't know that there's more to anime than, say, Dragon Ball Z or the Pokemans or things like that, this is just a fun, nice little series. And this is a nice little Blu-ray collection. It has all 41 episodes plus the movie. And there's a disc of, I guess I should have been opening this stuff, and yeah, I never remember to do that because I am not good at these hauls. Should probably do more than one a year. That might help. Yeah, you got a whole disc of special features, but yeah, really fun series. And now we're moving into the Chanbara section of the haul. And the main piece of that, I finally got the Zatoichi Criterion, yet another Criterion box set. And this is a phenomenal set. And what Zatoichi is, in case you don't know, it's a 25 movie film series, all starring the same actor, about a blind masseuse or masseur / swordsman who kind of just travels from place to place, getting into hijinks and such. And where Zatoichi really kind of stands out among the crowd, because you may think, well, 25 movies of a guy going place to place doing this and that might get a little repetitive, is the character himself. Whereas in these type of roles, they're often stoic, tortured, or almost anti-hero types. But Zatoichi himself, though he has his demons, is a really lovable, charming, almost childlike guy. I mean, you really feel for him and really get invested in what he's doing. And he takes his licks, too. So he's not, I mean, he's really good, especially when he draws his sword. But yeah, he takes some licks as well. And this, being Criterion, as I often say, is the high water mark for Blu-ray and DVD. And this packaging is no different. It comes with 2 hardcover books. The first being notes and a little essay thing in the notes on each movie. And then another hardcover book, which houses the DVD, the Blu-rays themselves. Sorry, I got one in the player. Which houses the movies themselves. Yeah, this is a great release, and it's only $100 right now on Amazon, and that is really a steal for 25 movies. I mean, it's not 25 discs, but still 25 movies. Yeah, great set. If anyone wants me to actually cover this thing in full, even though this is much better, like Al than Fight Now's video on this very box set floating around for your convenience. But if anyone wants me to cover this myself, just let me know. And then next in the Chanbara section is the next Usagi Yojimbo volume. And I've just really been digging black and white comics lately. It's just something about the line work. It's just so much more detailed than you get in most color comics. And this is just a great comic about a wandering samurai who just happens to be a rabbit. I just started that one. Look at that, there's my J. Super Awesome bookmark. Yeah, it's even gotten with the black and white thing. If there's the option between color and black and white, I will go the black and white route, because a lot of these Usagi Yojimbos, these early ones, they've gone back and added color later, and I still go for the black and whites when I can have them, or get them. And speaking of Usagi Yojimbo, this is another little highlight of the Christmas this year, and that is the Usagi Yojimbo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon figure. But to be honest, I barely even remember Usagi being on the cartoon. I just got it because it's just a great looking figure of a character I really like. And this is easily the best looking figure I think Usagi's ever had. And it looks so much like the comic version, I'm just using it as the comic version. I mean, not that it really matters that much anyway. But yeah, this is an amazing figure. Got two cool head sculpts and a bunch of accessories, even though I'm just going to stick with the basic head. And speaking of white, fuzzy animal people figures, I got the First Mate Jenny figure from the Bucky O'Hare line from Boss Fight Studios. And Bucky O'Hare was a comic book that was then turned into an early 90s animated series, obviously meant to cash in on the Ninja Turtles fame. But I'd say it's far more akin to Star Wars than it ever was Ninja Turtles, about a group of anthropomorphic animal space people battling the Toad Empire. But of course, my favorite, and the one I had to get first, was First Mate Jenny. I mean, obviously, it's a cat girl. How can you go wrong there? And she was originally meant to be in the original toy line from back in the day, but it was canceled before that figure was produced. So they produced this one based on the prototype pictures that showed up of the Jenny figure from the original toy line. That's why she has white hair, whereas in the cartoon, and probably the comic as well, she had pink hair. But yeah, this is just a really cute figure with a bunch of cute faces too, and it's one of those things I'm not positive which one I want to display. It's like I really do like how we have all these options with collector figures now with different heads and faces and stuff, but sometimes it's almost too much. Like, stop giving me so many choices, darn it. Oh yeah, she was early in this line because at this point it was only her and Bucky. The others were all coming soon. And this is something I've been wanting for a long time, and that's the Nier Automata soundtrack. And yeah, I said Automata. Even though the cool kids say Automata, the one time this word is spoken aloud in the game, they say Automata. So until Yoko Taro tells me differently, I'm going with that. But if you wanted to tell me that Nier Automata was the greatest science fiction video game ever made, I wouldn't argue, honestly. I mean, it really is next level in terms of everything, from storytelling to presentation down to the soundtrack. And speaking of Nier, I got the A2 Nendoroid figure, which A2 is actually my favorite character from the game. And I've been wanting something A2 for a while, but the Nier stuff, since it's imports, it can all be a little pricey, but finally got this one in. This is just a really kind of fun little figure line. Little, I guess you'd say almost chibi-esque, but really posable with lots of different faces and weapons and things they can do. Yeah, she's actually going on display on my video game shelf. And then we have the Nier Yorha prequel manga, which tells the story of A2. A2 to before the events of the game. And remember what I was saying earlier about how much I really like black and white comics? Well, that did not really go towards manga. I have had this major keyblade size stick in my backside for many, many years against manga. But recently I removed said stick and decided to give manga a fair shot and started with this one. And I have to say, I was impressed. I quite enjoyed it. The line work. Well, let's open it up. I'm being just a terrible host here. But yeah, just look at that line work. But yeah, reading this has actually made me want to give some more a shot. You know, to kind of scratch that black and white comic itch. I've also been wanting to check out Sino Alice, which is another manga by Yoko Taro. Anyone out there read Sino Alice? Shiki, how about you? Let me know what you think of that one, because that might be what I get next. And now some stuff I saved here to the end, because not only did I get a very nice Christmas this year, I also got 2 very nice care packages from Them's Fightin' Owls and Jay Super Awesome, as well as a great Venus figure for my sister. But most of that stuff has been assimilated into the collection already, so it involved taking things off shelves, etc., etc. I did want to showcase a couple of things, and this was from the care package from Them's Fightin' Owls, and this is Dreadnought, which is one of my all-time favorite martial arts films, top 10 easily, starring Yin Biao as a lovable Yin Biao-esque character going against a killer, a criminal named the White Tiger. This one is a lot of fun, and again, one of my favorites. But it has been very hard to find on DVD. I just have it on VHS, or I just had it on VHS, and not even an actual VHS tape, but a copy of a VHS tape. That's all I've had for years. But Al was his awesome evil monk self and sent me a DVD copy. So very much looking forward to seeing this again with a good picture. But also in that care package was a custom-made toy by Al himself, which is a really unique combination of an Ultra Q monster mixed with the Mummy. But Al made this and painted this himself, and even made this very fancy custom artwork here. You know, that Al, that young fella, he's got a lot of talent in this kind of stuff. Well, he's got a lot of talent in a lot of stuff, especially eating soup. And then from the J Super Awesome package, he sent me the Hammer Horror 8 film collection. In particular, because this one has Night Creatures and The Phantom of the Opera, 2 films he talked about on his 31 Days of Halloween this year. Or was it 31 Days of Horror? His 31 Days video series this year. And I showed interest in both of them. And I've already watched Night Creatures, which I quite enjoyed. It's odd that it's on a Hammer Horror collection, because Night Creatures, really not a horror movie. More so a thing about smugglers with just a little bit of spookiness, just a tiny little bit. And yeah, so a very good movie. Great set. Thanks again, guys. And here we have Darwin back. Say that's all for this year. Please like, comment, subscribe. And if there's any of this stuff you want more detailed looks at or reviews of or any some such thing, let me know in the comments below.